What's going on, everyone? I'm just a typical, average American here today to react and continue learning about the Nazi occupation of Norway in World War II. This is part 5. If you haven't seen the other parts of this series, feel free to go check those out first, or stay here in part 5. But so far in this series, I've learned a lot about a part of Norwegian history that they do not teach us about here in the United States, like how Norway was invaded by Nazis, occupied by Nazis. I had no idea about this. Then Norwegians formed a resistance, and where we left off last time, the Norwegian resistance had faced a major setback. A lot of Norwegians had been captured or killed, and basically now Norway is going to work with Britain to form a more cohesive, strong military. And I don't know, we're getting towards the end of this series, so I'm really interested to see how this all concludes. So let's take a look.
The most famous action involving SOE-trained soldiers of the Linger Company was the gunnercide operation against the heavy water plant at Vemork in February 1943.
So this is some kind of military operation against a water plant? A water plant that was controlled by the Germans in Vemork, Norway.
It was vital to Norwegian interests that the attack should be carried out by saboteurs, because a bombing raid would be hazardous to the local population.
Oh, yeah, apparently this water plant, they talked about this in part 1. This water plant is very, very important for Germany and the Nazis, and by destroying this water plant, it would be a major setback for Germany. So they can't just bomb it, which would be easy. That would destroy all the local Norwegians too. So they have to do this like covert, secret attack, basically, this mission.
A 4-man team, codenamed Grouse, was dropped onto the nearby Hardanger Plateau by parachute on the 18th of October 1942 to make contact with SOE's undercover agent working at the plant, Einar Skinnaland, named Swallow.
Swallow. Okay. This is just a 4-man team. 4 Norwegians who have parachuted and are meeting up with a undercover Norwegian working at the water plant undercover. This is actually kind of exciting. I know this already happened, and this whole story is very dark, but this is kind of exciting.
We were
Swallow.
dropped quite a long way from the operational area. And that was because we were going to drop blind. There was no reception committee on the ground. So I wanted to be quite sure that we wouldn't get in touch with any German patrols and so on.
That is absolutely amazing that they actually have a Norwegian from World War II that they're interviewing and they can talk about this. That's incredible. So this is very secretive, dropping the 4 Norwegian soldiers, so that they wouldn't run into any German patrols, or it's all very secret.
It took us 14 days to move that short distance because of all the equipment we had to bring with us.
Wait a minute. Did this man actually participate in this mission? The way he's talking, it almost sounds like he was there Was he one of the 4 Norwegians? Is that possible? That is unbelievable.
The plan was for Grouse to base itself in a commandeered skiing hut and prepare for a glider-borne commando attack that was scheduled to occur a month after their arrival.
Oh my God.
34 Royal Engineers were to make the commando raid. Its codename was Freshman. In the event, it was a catastrophe. Both gliders crashed, one near Leisefjord and the other near Egersund. The few survivors of the impact, many of them badly wounded, were rounded up by the Gestapo, tortured and shot.
The Freshman operation was a disaster. They were
Jeez.
very unlucky.
Jeez.
One of the problems was that the lights we have got, there was ordinary British Army flashlights, and I think they weren't good enough. Later in the war, we used more powerful
Wow.
lights.
Wow.
So if you had good lights, who spread their beam better, I'm sure they would have found us.
The Grouse team were ordered to remain in place to prepare for a second attempt.
So they did a first attack with gliders, which are small airplanes, I think. They were captured, tortured, killed. So tragic. Like, what can you even say? And now they have this small 4-man team that's on the ground, I think, more covert.
They withdrew up into the wilderness of the Hardanger Plateau, out of reach of German patrols, to await orders.
Were they really on skis? This is such a Norwegian secret mission. I love it. And it's smart because Norwegians are going to be experts at traversing the Norwegian geography, the Norwegian terrain. Maybe they had skis as well. So this is really using Norwegians' advantage, like their natural advantage, knowing how to survive in the snow, how to move, the countryside, all that.
In the event, they were forced to survive the incredibly harsh conditions for another 4 months.
Oh my God!
For days on end, they would be pinned down in their hut by howling wind and driving snow. On more than
Jeez.
one occasion, they came close to starvation.
The most important was to stay alive. And that meant wood for our stove in the hut we had frozen.
I can't believe they actually got one of the guys. Here, this is him. They actually got him to do an interview. That's amazing.
And it meant food. The day before Christmas, I shot the first reindeer, and I spent a very, very nice Christmas eating and eating.
So part of this was this was a very long mission, and part of this was they had to survive. It wasn't even about fighting Nazis. It was fighting the elements, not starving and freezing to death.
Back in London, it was decided not to try another commando raid, but to send in a second small team of SOE-trained Norwegians to complete the job.
Oh, okay.
Their leader was Second Lieutenant Joachim Rønneberg. The operation was codenamed Gunnerside.
So they're sending in four more Norwegians, okay?
On the 16th of February, after many delays and flights aborted by bad weather, the 6-man team dropped onto the Hardanger Plateau.
Oh, 6.
It was 6 days before they made contact with the Grouse team.
Ah, okay.
The problem was when they got a message that they had landed, a tremendous snowstorm broke up. So we were very anxious about them.
Yeah. Oh my God.
After a week, the weather cleared, and went up to Lake Kalungsjön to look up for them, and I met them.
Wow.
So it was a very happy reunion.
Yes.
We all knew each other from England, from Scotland.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, a lot of Norwegians, they said, trained in Scotland, actually, during this time, and then came back to Norway to fight against the Nazis.
The combined party quickly decided that the best line of attack was to drop down into the gorge, cross the ice-bound river at the bottom, and attempt to climb the sheer cliff on the other side.
Oh my
A route that
God!
is still considered to be treacherous today. But despite the dangers, this route was their only means of escape.
No way.
So they would have to complete the operation without alerting any of the German guards.
Oh my God. This is crazy.
On the day of the attack, Hellberg, one of the gunnerside team, recce'd the route and declared it possible.
Okay.
The only problem was that a thaw had set in.
This is probably good to take this route, because it is the last place that the Nazis would expect someone to attack from. Because they foolishly thought, oh, that no human being could get through this area of Norway. But this group of Norwegians could.
Because of the mild weather, there was quite a lot of water in the river, and there was only one ice bridge to cross at that place.
Okay.
If that had also had gone, we must have looked for another place, and that would have been very difficult.
Yes.
The wet snow made the going hard, and in the bottom of the gorge, the rapidly thawing ice cracked and groaned as they made their way across the river.
Oh, God.
By 1:45, they were safely out of the gorge and hiding only a few hundred yards from their objective, the looming bulk of the Vemork plant.
They made it. And they're just hiding outside of this giant water plant, filled with Germans. This is like a movie, except this is real life.
At 3 a.m., they made their silent assault, cutting through the thick chain lock on the giant wire mesh gates and taking up their positions in the compound.
Oh, wow.
2 members of the demolition team, Rønneberg and Kaiser, made their way along a narrow cable shaft and dropped down into the cellar where the machinery that concentrated the heavy water was situated.
Okay. Right, so this is a heavy water plant. I think this kind of material is used in, like, nuclear weapons. So it was very important for them to destroy this.
There, they overpowered the Norwegian night watchman, and Rønneberg set about placing explosives on the cylinders of water.
Wow.
25 minutes later, they released the night watchman and burst out of the steel door of the cellar into the night.
No way!
A few seconds later, they heard the dull thud of the explosion. The sound was muffled by the noise of the factory and the thick concrete walls.
They did it.
In that moment, Hitler's atomic scientists lost 3,000 pounds of heavy water, about 4 months' production.
Oh my God, what a brave, incredible act. This was a legitimate, secret military mission with just a handful of Norwegians scrapping and surviving the winter, almost dying, finding a way, and in the middle of the night, blowing up this nuclear heavy water material. Huge setback for Germany. Absolutely incredible. I never heard about this.
At the sound of the explosion, the door of the nearby German barracks hut swung open and a half-dressed soldier appeared, flashing a torch.
I bet.
The beam passed inches above the head of one of the hiding saboteurs.
Oh, some of them are still there? Wait, they're still hiding there at the plant?
After listening for a while, the sentry turned and walked slowly back to his hut.
Today we know the reason why no shot was fired was because the Germans didn't do that job. The German guards didn't do that job. We
Wow.
were very, very lucky.
Very lucky.
I believe the British has a saying, you get what luck you deserve.
Yeah.
Maybe we deserved it, I don't know. But at least we were very, very lucky.
That's insane. That is so lucky. Oh, they didn't find them.
Once safe in the mountains, the party split up. Some of them were to stay in Norway, while 5 were to make an epic 400-kilometer journey across the Hardangervidda to the Swedish border.
Oh my god. This group of Norwegians really, really went through it. They really went through it. Like months in the winter, now they gotta hike 400 kilometers through the snow again to escape to Sweden. What?
It was several days before London learnt that the raid had been a complete success.
Yeah.
SOE was jubilant, as was Downing Street.
Wow.
But more than anything else, it was a huge victory for Norway and those of its citizens who had chosen to resist the German tyranny.
That's huge. That's huge. That's got to be a huge morale booster to hear that your country, which has been taken over, is fighting back and has landed a huge blow against the enemy. That's got to be huge. Great to hear.
The Germans worked frantically to repair the damaged machinery at Vemork. The SOE undercover agent Schinneland told London that the plant would be back in full production by August. Once again, the Americans raised the possibility of bombing the plant, and this time the plan was accepted.
Oh.
But only because the Norwegian government and High Command were not told about it.
Oh no. And this was America. See, I didn't even know about this, and it's America. We just want to bomb it. Bomb the plant. And we did not get permission from the Norwegian government. Does that mean Norwegians actually died from this bombing raid?
On the 16th of November, a fleet of 300 flying fortresses and liberators took off from East Anglia and headed for Vemork. Only 18 of them hit the plant. The heavy water high concentration cells escaped almost intact. 22 local citizens were killed. The Norwegian authorities in London were incandescent with rage. The Germans decided to remove all remaining stocks of heavy water to Germany in February 1944.
Wow. Norwegians did die. That's so sad. And Norway was upset with, sounds like America really pushed for this. It did seem to cause Germany to take the heavy water out of Norway.
On Sunday, the 24th of February, Norwegian saboteurs placed a bomb in the bow of the hydro ferry that would transport the rail wagons containing the heavy water across Lake Tinsha on Sunday, the 20th of February.
Oh.
The bomb exploded as planned at 10:45, sending
They put a bomb in this boat?
the ferry and its cargo to the bottom.
Oh my god!
Sadly, 14 Norwegian passengers were drowned. But once again, the point had been proved that a small team of highly motivated and well-trained Norwegian saboteurs could achieve what a massive bombing raid could not.
That's true. This small team of Norwegians were able to accomplish so much.
Once the British and Americans, who of course are quite well developed on their atomic project at this time, discover the Germans are working on the same thing, this has to be stopped.
Yeah.
And of course we should remember, Heisenberg, the head of the German atomic bomb project's biographer, actually says the Vemork raid limits the Germans to small-scale reactor experiments. They're not thinking about building a bomb after the raid.
Wow. So, in a sense, Norway directly stopped Germany from developing nuclear bombs, which is incredible. I don't think you guys get enough credit for this.
In the final phase of the war, the Norwegian military resistance organisation, Milorg, finally came into its own. With the aid of London, it had gradually been building up its strength.
In early December 1944, a directive was issued by General Eisenhower. The idea was to keep the Germans in Norway. And in order to do that, one should sabotage against railways, shipping, and fuel facilities.
So Norwegians are really starting to fight back. And Norway has an organized military now. You're sabotaging all the transport. So they want Germans to be stuck in Norway?
To slow down the transfer of German troops from occupied Norway to the continent.
I see.
So the Milorg got the opportunity to carry out sabotage.
Wow.
This actually happened after the German surrender in Finland in the autumn of 1944, when large numbers of troops were withdrawn into Finnmark and thence southwards.
The Allies didn't have any forces to use, but in Norway at that time. So if he had wanted to fight on it, would have taken a hell of a long time to eliminate him.
In the event, General Burma signed the German surrender in Norway on the 8th of May 1945, and Milorg did not have to fight.
Okay.
Their role in the risky transition period was to stand guard, protect buildings, and maintain order. And there was also the matter of rounding up the traitors and collaborationists.
Right. Unfortunately, the Norwegians who joined the Nazis.
Unlike France, which saw a massive bloodletting after the liberation, Norway handled the matter with dignity and due process.
Wow.
Some 25 traitors, including Quisling, were executed.
Oh, wow. So Norway, I mean, I'm sure it's finally over. Germany surrendered. Just as Norway was really coming to the peak of its military organization. And Norway really was very selfless in keeping Germans in the country, trying to slow them down from getting to other places. And Norwegians were destroying parts of Norway, destroying trains and Norwegian things. Very selfless. And then at the end, there were traitors, and Norway resisted the temptation to get revenge and just had trials, due process. There were people executed, probably rightfully so.
On June the 7th, 1945, 5 years to the day after he had been forced into exile, King Haakon VII set foot on Norwegian soil again.
Wow.
Norway's long nightmare was over.
Wow. Holy cow, what a nightmare. That's the word, isn't it? I can't even imagine. America has never gone through anything quite like this. America, we had our independence war, Revolutionary War against Great Britain, where there were British troops occupying parts of the American colonies. Not exactly the same thing. This is just horrible. This is a nightmare. And it was amazing to hear about how Norway resisted and fought back. And this amazing sabotage plan. And all amazing, really. And a story I've never heard before. A part of World War II I didn't know about. So I really enjoyed this. So anyway, if you enjoyed this as well, feel free to give this video a like or leave a comment with your thoughts on the Nazi occupation of Norway in World War II. That'd be awesome to hear about, especially from a Norwegian perspective. And if you're interested in more videos like this, me reacting to Norway and learning about Norwegian culture, feel free to subscribe for more. And until then, thanks for watching, and see you next time.